We are back at the beautiful Witmoskloof Conservancy in South Africa for the May 2020 season of the Oxwagon Diaries. And man, have I got some stories to tell. This round will be a little bit different to what you've seen in the past. I'm out here all by myself for the first time due to COVID-19 regulations. But with the rain having finally arrived and everything looking green again, there are high hopes for an action-packed week of vomiting and hunting. Man, I tell you what, it is good to be back. This place looks so different to how it looked just a few months ago when we were here last. So green, it's so good that they've had rain. The streams are flowing for the first time in ages. I don't think I've ever seen the streams flowing here in all the years I've been here. The animals are spoiled for choice when it comes to feed. The series might look a bit different. It's just me this time. Coronavirus has everyone locked down and separated, so I can't bring any friends out. I'm here to do some work. I've got a pest control permit, so I'm able to help out with farming, which is an essential service. And I think it's going to be a good time. Might be a bit different. Don't know what the next few days is going to hold, but strap in, it's going to be good. So this is home for the next few days. Pretty spacious, nice and comfy. It's not a 5-star hotel, but it's exactly what I needed after being stuck in my house for many weeks during lockdown. I'll take this over being at home and not being able to go outside any day of the week. But we've got some work to do, so out we go. Let's get the guns out. Let's get going. And might I add, I don't think I'm going to miss my bed at home at all. I might not be able to wake up in the morning. Right, so here's the plan. As I arrived at the farmhouse to check in there, Anton, who's the farmer here, told me that the monkeys happen to be down there at a place called Dovedale. That's where we ambushed that monkey last time. So we're going to take a drive down there, and while we're down there we're going to do some zeroing. We just need to check all the rifles and make sure that nothing got bumped out, and just check that all the zeros are correct. That gives you not only a bit of confidence when you take the shot, but it's also the ethical thing to do. You don't want to be wounding anything. Not that you can wound a monkey with a 300 WSM, but yeah, you get the idea. Upon arrival at Dovedale, I am blown away by the transformation that has taken place. You may remember this place from a previous season filmed in December, where we ambushed those monkeys. Back then, it was so dry that the topsoil was getting blown away like it was dune sand. Now it's a totally different story, and it's great to see, but unfortunately, without the allure of animal feed, the monkeys are just nowhere to be seen. Our afternoon is still set for some action though, as I see a group of ground squirrels fighting with each other. It's pretty funny to watch in slow motion. They really can launch themselves into the air when they want to, but I'm here to launch lead at them. The problem with ground squirrels, or any rodent for that matter, is that they simply do not keep still. This one lowers his head just as I squeeze off the trigger and escapes with just a scratch on his back. I make my move quickly on the next one though, and he takes one right to the chest. I thought I was going mad after this next shot. In real time it looks like my shot was way low, but the high speed reveals that it actually hit the wire in front of his head and the slug had deflected down. Lucky bugger, but the next one isn't so lucky. I do apologize about the haze on the scope cam footage. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to set the scope cam up for the scope, and sometimes I get light leaking in from the side if I don't align everything properly. But you get the idea. It was an awesome little session of ground squirrel hunting, and it felt great to get something down with the air gun. Guys, that was flipping ridiculous. What a start to the trip. I was coming down here to zero my rifle. There's a little old dam wall here which I use as a berm, and there's some flat ground so I can lie prone and zero the rifles, but You know, drive in here, next thing I know I see 2 or 3 ground squirrels playing around with each other. So I hit record, got out the truck, lay down here, took one shot, and the next thing I know they're all just standing up, one after another like this. But I was patient, I sat and I waited, and after I shot about 3 of them, there was some gaps between the shots. I had to wait for, you know, some of them to gather the courage to stick their heads up. But I looked very, very carefully in the green stuff, and if I just scanned carefully through my scope, I'm guessing that's 65 meters away, something like that. These slugs are shooting so flat that I did not have to worry about ranging, and that is a massive, massive advantage, because at 65 meters, if I had to take a pellet gun, for example, there'd be quite a significant drop even at that distance, and I would have to range, otherwise you're just taking random guesses. With this gun, I could basically aim dead on, maybe a little bit high, knowing that I was going to be pretty much spot on. If I was 20 meters further than expected, I would still get a good hit. What makes it just a little bit more rewarding is that I am taking these shots with the Nexus scope, Element Nexus, which is a scope I've spent many hours working on. As you may know, I've been working with Element Optics from the start to develop a new range of scopes, and I'm really happy with the way they turned out. I wish you could see how clear it was through the scope cam. Doesn't quite do it justice. I'm still trying to figure out how to set up the scope cam best with the scope, but hope it brought across some of the clarity. It's really, really awesome. But let's find these squirrels. One of life's great mysteries is how a gas freezer works. And another one of life's great mysteries is how a ground squirrel that has been shot in the head can just vanish. Either I'm completely blind or something is dragging them down their holes. I do know that squirrels tend to do this, so perhaps I'm not crazy after all. Well, whether we got those other squirrels or not is still a little bit irrelevant, because it's still been an awesome start to the day. I guess this is a good opportunity to introduce my Impact. I know many of you will have seen this gun before, but this is an Impact Mach 2 with a power plenum. It's a 22 caliber. It's got a Utah Airguns custom job. I'm actually going to put a link down below to this exact gun. Utah Airguns will be offering this with this exact setup, so if you want to check that out, that'd be awesome. Element Nexus scope on it. This is the high-end Element scope, $1,500, but you're basically getting a tier 1 scope. These things are incredibly good. The glass is amazing. Parallax is down to 10 yards, so perfect for air guns. Available in MIL or MOA with many reticle options. And I'll put the website down below if you want to check all that out. Lifetime warranty, the works. It's really, really a cool setup. 3 ground squirrels down, probably more. I probably just can't find them. But we're going to take some time now just to zero all the setups, set up some targets, do some blasting. Should be fun. All right, targets are set up. And now we move back there. Right, the very first rifle we're going to zero here is the little 22-250, shooting 50 grain VMAXs. I think this gun's pretty much set in. Actually took a few shots with it earlier, but we're going to double check anyway because it's the safe thing to do. I'm going to press start here on the Labrador. And you'll notice I don't like to lie on any fancy mats or anything like that. Reason being, I want to get used to rough conditions. I want to get used to having stones underneath me so that when I need to take that shot when hunting, I can be comfortable. Or even if I'm not comfortable, I can simply ignore it because I'm used to it. So I'm going to go for bottom left there. Dead center. Last one. Nice. Perfect. Now, the next gun we're going to work on is the 260 Remington. This gun is super accurate. I'm expecting the first shot or two to be a little bit different because I just cleaned the barrel recently. So I haven't really had a chance to foul it up or anything properly. But let's see. I'm gonna put the scope cam on so you guys can see what I'm doing. Oh, I've also just fitted the scope, by the way, so we are zeroing from scratch here. I've kind of done some bore sighting, but we could miss entirely on the first shot. Let's see. Yep, missed the paper entirely. 1.5 up. And what do we say? 1 right. There you go. Oh. Right, so we've zeroed the Titan on the 260, and here's where the hands-free or tool-free turrets come in. Hands-free, of course you need your hands. I'm going to loosen this. Okay, now if you wanted to, you could slip it back to 0 without the 0 stop, but we want the 0 stop there. So we are going to attach it on like that, all the way clockwise. I'm going to tighten it down. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to put this right there on 0. And put the cap back on. Same thing for the windage turret, except the windage obviously doesn't have a 0 stop. Going to put it on 0. I'm going to lock it down. Right, here's where we put our ears on, because we're taking out the big boy. I would probably wear the earmuffs most of the time, even with the suppressor on, but we are going to shoot with the muzzle brake, and you know what that means? That means big boom. So we're going to put it slightly behind the Labrador. Let's bring these up a bit. Beautiful Nexus scope on this one. And we're not going to try the scope cam because that's going to equate to my eye being smashed and a little ring around it for the rest of the trip. So let's do it. That is not fun. Just punches you in the chest. Beautiful.
At this point I remove the Axis Precision Works muzzle brake and fit the SUSTAC suppressor. The goal is to simply record the point of impact shift between the two, and perhaps 0 for the suppressor if I'm happy with the recoil.
Alright, fear not, this should be much quieter, much quieter. But I'm curious to see whether the recoil is better or worse, because suppressors reduce recoil, but muzzle brake also reduces recoil. So we'll see how this works, but as you can see, I've added the sunshade. I just think it looks better with the sunshade, with the suppressor on. That nice long setup. I must say, I think there is more recoil with the suppressor. But it's not too bad. Well, I'll call that a big success. Within those 4 targets, we've been able to zero all the rifles. I'm so happy with the way they're shooting. The 22-50 basically put the first 3 shots just cloverleaf. This one with the brake, 300 WSM, was on target, dead center, 3 shots right on top of each other. and then switched to the suppressor, and within 3 shots I was back on target. It was just a case of going 4 clicks up and 1 click to the right, so not a huge point of impact shift. Recoil seems slightly more with the suppressor, but it's very, very manageable, and I've just put another 3 shots right on center. Perfect. So I'm going to again reset these turrets so that we set up for the suppressor, that way I don't have to carry hearing protection around. And also on the farm, with all the game around, and you know, you get international hunters coming and hunting on this property sometimes, you want to make sure that the game is calm. So you want to shoot with suppressed rifles whenever you can, that way they're not spooked and running all over the place, and they don't associate humans with the sound of the big boom. So we're doing a favor to the farmer by using the suppressor, and I'm very happy with the way this has worked out. So you've taken all these shots, you've collected data. For example, I know my muzzle velocities and I know my point of impact shift between the suppressor and the brake. I downloaded an app called Gunner, G-U-N-R. It's on the App Store. Basically it's a database for all your shooting activity. So you can do like low development, you can make a recipe with your, you know, your seating depth, your components, and your powder charge, all of that. So I'm going to add all of this that I've just figured out now, the point of impact shift, all the velocities. It even adds your weather for your current position. So it'll go on the internet. I don't have internet here, but let's go down there. Let me show you how awesome that looks. Right, well, here's the results. 3 shots with the 22-250, basically a little clover hole. The 260 for some reason wasn't shooting so great. I don't know why, but there are my last 3 shots. This was zeroing, remember? So the first one went under, next one was there, then I shifted it here, shifted it back, and those are my 3 shots. So that's still under an inch. It's still a very acceptable group, but not like that. And then 300 WSM, that is awesome. That's 3 shots with a muzzle brake. And then over here, I switched the brake for the suppressor, kept my same point of aim. Those are my 3 shots there, and then adjusted 4 clicks up, 1 to the right, and those are my 3 there. So now I know, let's try to get this to focus. Now I know that this gun is shooting spot on.
With a couple of hours of sunlight left in the day, I decided to do a quick trajectory validation with my long-range rifles. So I went out to 700 yards, stuck a few gongs up, and took a few shots. I'm now learning to manage the recoil of the 300 much better, and I feel pretty confident going for the little 20 centimeter gong. The 260, however, is just having a bad day, so I keep it on the large gong. Back at the camp, I hear plenty of doves about, and having skipped lunch completely, my stomach tempts me into embarking on a spontaneous hunt for fresh meat.
Well, that certainly wasn't planned, but dove at probably about 60 meters, 34 grain slug, didn't play any games. Solid thud, and that's going to be our dinner for tonight. I noticed that there's a lot of doves here, a lot more than normal. I'm guessing it's just so green, and also there's been feed that the farmers laid out to supplement the game animals in the area over the last few months of drought, and the birds are probably living off the leftover seeds and stuff lying here on the ground. But a lot of doves, so we're probably going to take advantage of that and shoot a few over the next few days for dinner. There's doves everywhere. There's a laughing dove, so we can shoot them all year round with no bag limit. And that was a good shot, so let's take a look. There he is. That'll go down well tonight.
In South Africa, we are lucky enough to have an abundance of wild game birds, and there are 4 species of doves that we can shoot all year round with no bag limit. I missed range this one, but the next one is spot on. These little laughing doves don't take much to drop on the spot. They are nowhere near as tough as pigeons, and the impact does the job easy peasy.
those of you who don't know, I was in Europe early March, came back on the 12th of March and went straight into self-isolation, and I've been under lockdown since then. So I have not been outside apart from 1 or 2 like shopping trips since the 12th of March, and I think today is the 8th of May or something like that. So it's a long time, it's almost 2 months, but we're back outdoors now. I can't tell you how much more you appreciate an environment like this when you've been stuck inside a small house. You realize that life is much more than your home. In fact, your home can be a lot of things outside of your house. But we're gonna make some coffee. We have this stuff today from Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the birthplace of coffee, right here in Africa. 1 spoon of coffee in the AeroPress. Our hot water into the AeroPress. Stir it up a bit. That's the good stuff. We're just waiting for the fire to burn down a bit, and once it's almost ready, we'll head out there. A meat-only dinner, just the way I like it. Should be good. I'm always at a bit of a loss for words when it comes to starting and ending these Oxwagon Diaries trips, because I feel like you have to be someone who's born in Africa to understand what it's like to come out here. You know, you hear the jackals calling, you see the stars, you hear the nightjars, you smell the smoke of the fire. It's something really special. I don't think it's easy to bring that across, but I think that hunters will understand what I'm talking about, an outdoorsman, because although I can't explain to you what Africa is like to me, you'll know what your own special place, your own wilderness area is like to you. So I'm not going to bore you with words, I think you understand, but I do want to quickly thank you guys for the donations that you made for drought relief for this farm. As you may know, the farm was in probably the worst drought that it's ever been in. As you'll see now, the rain has come, and that's awesome. The animals are flourishing right now, but a lot of those animals wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for the donations that you gave, which allowed the farmer to put feed out and keep the animals going for about 1.5 months between the last time I filmed here and now. And it's blown me away, your generosity. The farmer's amazed at what you guys have been able to contribute, and it really just, yeah, it's, I don't know what to say other than thank you so much. So yeah, we've got hunting over the next few days. We had a really good air gun day today with the ground squirrels and everything, so rifles are set up. Hopefully we can hit it hard tomorrow, get some more monkeys down. And then little Anton, who's not so little anymore, he's been asked to shoot a zebra on the neighboring farm. So I've told him he's very welcome to use one of my rifles. He's really keen to do that, so we might have a zebra hunt on our hands, which would be great. I know zebra hunting for foreigners sounds a bit bizarre, but a zebra to us is just another game animal that you can eat. So yeah, it's pretty normal for us to shoot zebras. But stay tuned, guys. We've got some more episodes coming over the next few days. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you then. I'm going to enjoy my lamb chops and dove breast now. It should be good.